Hello, folks. This is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers to the drawing on August 7th, 2019. If you'd like to get my game, Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategy 1 and 2, the game card color code in the 50-50 picks. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 4, 8, 30, 52, and 59. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 4 was blue, the 8 was green, the 30 was orange, the 52 was purple, and the 59 was orange. Okay, so I'm going to color these in. So again, the 4 was blue, the 8 was green, the 30 and 59 were orange, and the 52 was purple. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many colors I have. So I got 2 orange, purple, green, and blue for 4 colors total. Okay, so up here I'm going to make this 364 color code drawings I kept track of so far. And now a 4 color combination has now come up 127 times. Okay, so what I want you to focus on here is the 3 color combination. Okay, you can see that has come up in 193 drawings. Okay, so if you divide 193 into 364, you're going to see that a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge because long term, if I just keep on picking a 3 color combination, I know statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new game card. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all these colors and start from scratch. Okay, so my color code is right here. Here's the red numbers, the orange, the green, the blue, and whatever's left over is purple. So what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers, I divided it by 5 colors, and that's 1 color for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, and that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, or a good representation of each color. Okay, so again, I'm going to start in with the red numbers, and so I'm going to start with the 4, the 8, the 30, 52, and 59. The next line down is the 14, 41, 50, 56, and 57. The next line down is the 9, 32, 37, 41, which is already taken, and the 56, which is already taken. So again, I'm going to make these red. And now I'm going to count how many colors, how many red marks I have on the game card. So I got 3, and 5 is 8, 2 is 10, and 3 is 13. So up here, I'm going to keep this at 13. So up here, it tells me how many of each color I have on the game card. Okay, so moving on to the orange area, I'm going to start with the 5, the 12, the 20, 21, 47. The next line down is the 12 and 21 again, so those are already taken. So the 22, 29, 32 is already taken. So the 18, 21 is taken, 24, 30 is already taken, and the 60. And the last line is 10, 13, 30, which is already taken, 51, and 69. So I'll make these orange. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So I got 4, and 2 is 6, 2 is 8, 2 is 10, and 4 is 14. So I'll leave that alone at 14 as well. Okay, so I think you'll understand how I came up with the colors for my game card. So what I'm going to do is just to speed things up, I'm just going to scroll to the right here. Okay, so this is the game card for August 7th, 2019. You can see there was 13 red numbers, 14 orange, turned out to be 16 green, 15 blue, and 11 purple numbers. Okay, so again, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up. Okay, so that means more than half the time, 2 colors are not coming up, and that's what I want to focus on here. So again, the object of the game is to eliminate groups of numbers. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess what color group will not be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I want to point out that all 5 colors do come up. Okay, you can see that it's come up 13 times out of 364 drawings. Okay, so it does come up, but it's very rare. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on what color group will not be coming up. Okay, but to help me make a decision, I'm going to turn to the next strategy called the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so I'm just going to update this here. So I'm going to go back to the game card, and the numbers were even, odd. Okay, so as I come back here, the first thing I'm going to do is change this to 409. Okay, so I kept track of 409 drawings here, and basically this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, so again, I had 1 odd number and 4 evens, so the majority is evens. And now I'm going to make this 195. Okay, so out of 409 drawings, 214 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 195 have been the majority of even numbers. Okay, so what I do here is I break things down into 5, so it'll give me that majority again. Okay, so you can see with this 5 drawings, the majority was odd numbers, 3 drawings to 2. Okay, and as I keep on going back, you can see that the last 15 drawings have been the majority in the odds. Okay, so I'm predicting that this is going to be evens here. Okay, so I'm thinking that the next drawing coming up will have more even numbers than odd numbers. Okay, so I'm going to just write that down to remind myself what I picked. Okay, so as I head back here, I'm going to go on to the next one. This is high and low. All the numbers in blue are considered low. All the ones in red are considered high. Okay, so as I scroll down here, you can see that low has been, in the last like 30 drawings here, it's been the majority of low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that there's going to be more to the high side. So more numbers in this red area than the blue area. So I'm going to write that down as well. More numbers to the high side than the low. And moving on, I got left and right here. So as I scroll down through, you can see that the last 20 drawings have been the majority to the right side. So I'm going to go with the left side here. So I think more numbers will be over here than over here. So I'll write that down as well. More to the left. Okay, so the last one I have is this red and blue area here. So as I scroll down through, you can see that blue has had the majority for a while here. So I'm going to predict that there's going to be more numbers in the red area than the blue. Okay, so I'm expecting at least 3 numbers here in this red area. So I'm going to write that down as well. Okay, so, you know, I use this 50-50 picks as kind of like a roadmap to the winning numbers here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the next strategy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to pick what color I don't think is going to come up here. Sorry about that. Okay, so what I'm going to go with is I'm going to go with no green numbers. Now, I've been picking no green for the last 3 drawings and kind of getting burned here. You can see the 8 came up. That was green, okay? But green number has come up in the last 13 drawings. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so you can see that here there was no green numbers here, okay? So the average is like 5 drawings in a row where a color will come up and then finally miss, okay? Like this red here, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it missed, okay? So this green is like way overdue the miss, and plus, I'm expecting more even numbers than odds, and you can see that there's a lot of odd green numbers here, okay? So I'm going to go with no green numbers to come up. So I'm going to block out these green numbers here. Okay, so just give me a second. There's 16 of them. Okay, so when I block out numbers like this means that I'm not even going to consider these numbers when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these green numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all 69 numbers and divided it into 7 different groups. Okay, so here's group number 1. Holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Of course, this is the only one with 9 numbers where the other 6 have 10, okay, for 69 numbers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this so you can see that the 4 and the 8 came up. So I'm going to follow this plane until I find the 4, and I'm going to make this blue. I'm going to make this square blue because the 4 is blue, okay? Same with the 8. I'm going to make this green because the 8 is green, okay? So there's a couple of different ways that I could use this, okay? I could highlight this blue and go down and see what colors have come up, okay? So I haven't seen a red in a while. Okay, so maybe a red will be coming right back up here on this 4, all right? So another way I could do things is I could look at the last couple of drawings here, all right? So I could go back and look to see how many red numbers have come up recently, and it's been a while since it has, okay? So what I want to do is I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card, and I'll show you how to read this. Okay, so what you're looking at here is these big squares right here. This is good for 5 drawings, okay? So I like to break things down into 5 because when I go back into the history, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? But my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, okay? So that's how I kind of look at things, okay? So again, the object of the game is to eliminate groups of numbers, okay? So what I'm going to do is make a prediction on what group of numbers won't be coming up. So again, there's 7 groups here, and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So what I'm going to do is my prediction is that no 50 numbers are going to come up, okay? So you can see within this 5 drawings, you can see that there's been 6 50 numbers that have come up, okay? So I'm going to predict that no 50 numbers will be right here. So I'm going to go back to the game card and eliminate those 50 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so let me blow this back up. And one last thing I want to point out here is over here to the side is this 3. This tells me that I hit 3 groups out of 7 this last drawing. Okay, So the 4 and 8 were in a group, and the 52 and 59 were in a group, and the 30 was in its own group, okay? So I tried to predict what's going to happen here, okay? So a 4 comes up the most, and then a 3, and then a 5, okay? And a 2 will come up like every once in a blue moon, okay, like right here, okay? And I never seen a 1, okay? I never seen all 5 numbers in one of these groups, like 1 through 9 here. Haven't seen that yet. I'm sure it will happen someday. But again, I'm going to go back to the game card, and I'm going to eliminate those 50 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so here's 51, 50, 51, 52, 54, 56, 57, and 59. So hopefully no 50 numbers come up, okay? So I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and divided it into 4 different color groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers land within these color groups, I record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, so the numbers were 4, which is in the red, 8, which is in the blue, 30 is in the blue, 52 is in the orange, and 59 is in the orange. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. I got 1 in the red, that 4, 2 in the blue, the 8 and the 30, 2 in the orange, the 52 and 59, and 0 in the green. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. If I could have correctly guessed that none of these green numbers are going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these green numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize in the Powerball lottery. Okay, so if there's a 0, what I do is I color the background blue for cold. And if there's a hit, I color the background red for hot. Just to give me some separation, okay? So up here, I'm going to make this 101. So this tells me how many zeros I have in this column, okay? So you can see that this column goes pretty deep, okay? So what I'm going to do is I have 15 of these option cards, okay? And they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, and green, okay? It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card, okay? So my first prediction is right here on option card number 6. Now, I thought there was going to be more even numbers than odd numbers, okay? So you can see that these red numbers represent all the odd numbers here in the low, okay? So I thought there was going to be more numbers here to the high side and more even numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate these red numbers off of my game card. Okay, so you can see these zeros, sometimes they double up or even triple up, okay? So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that this is going to triple up here, okay? Just like this right here. And we'll see what happens, okay? So again, I'm going to eliminate these red numbers off of my game card. So I'm going to get rid of this plus the 25 here, okay? And I'll tell you why in a second. And again, I'm going to get rid of all these odds. Okay, so you can see that I have 5 numbers over here to the left side. Okay, and as I go back to group 1, you can see there's no numbers off here, off to the left. So what I wanted was this grid of 8 squares across and 8 squares down, but that's only good for 64 numbers, okay? There's 69 in the lottery, so I needed to pair a couple of these numbers up in that one square. Like the 8 shares the square with the 66, the 19 with the 67, the 25 and the 65, the 53 and the 69, and the 58 and the 68. Okay, so this is my way of grouping up numbers, all right? So if I get rid of all these red numbers like I'm doing, I'm going to get rid of the 25 and the 19 with all these other red numbers as a group, okay? So moving on, my next prediction is option card number 7, no green numbers, okay? So the reason why I'm picking this is because this has hit 35 drawings in a row, okay? Now this is a new record for all 15 option cards. The old record was 33, okay? So you know, there's 69 numbers, and basically these green numbers represent 20 out of these 69 numbers. Okay, so the 8 shares the square with the 66 here, the 19 with the 67, 53 with the 69, and the 58 with the 68. Okay, so again, there's 69 numbers, so there's 49 other numbers that can come up. Okay, so I don't think that this is going to go on for too long before it has a 0 to it. Okay, so I'm hoping that it's going to be this drawing here, so I'm going to get rid of all these green numbers here. So I'm going to get rid of the 4 corners here, the middle here, this pattern here, and this pattern here. So I'll start with the 32. I'll get rid of the 10 and the 18, the 34, and the 69. So hopefully none of those numbers come up. Okay, so moving on. The next one that I'm going to pick is option card 14, no green numbers. So here I think that it's going to triple up again on these zeros. Okay, it hasn't in a while. So I'm predicting it's going to look like this. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of these green numbers. And the pattern is 1, 12, 17, 28 for all 4 squares. So I'll get rid of the 12, the 28, the 16, the 33, the 49, and the 60, the 37, and the 64. So again, hopefully none of those numbers come up. Okay, so that's it for group 1. And again, I have one more option card 15, and that's what that looks like. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1 where I divided things into 4 different color groups, here I divided things into 8 different color groups. Okay, so it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers. Okay, except with this one, I know that there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers and there's 8 different color groups. So I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess what color group will not have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this one as well. So again, the numbers were 4 in the green, 8 in the yellow, 30 in the brown, 52 in the green, and 59 in the orange. Okay, so I always like to read things left to right, so I'm going to go with the 1 orange, 2 green, 1 brown, and 1 yellow. So down here, the current, there was no winning Powerball numbers in the red area. There's no winning Powerball in the blue area. There's 1 in the orange. There's 2 in the green. No winning Powerball numbers in the purple. There's 1 in the brown. No winning Powerball numbers in the gray area, and 1 in the yellow. Okay, so how many color groups did it hit? It hit 1, 2, 3, and 4, so I'm going to write that over here. Okay, and since the majority of the numbers were over here to the left side, I'm going to keep this for red. Okay, so if the majority was over here to the right side, I would color this for green. Okay, so the reason why I do that, if I see a streak of green like this, well, I know it's going to turn red eventually. Okay, so I'll be looking over the opposite side to find a 0 to it. Okay, so what I do now is you can see that this one had 3 misses to it here. Okay, so when there's 3 or more misses, okay, the majority is misses, so I colored the background blue for cold. Okay, and this is why I like to break it down into 5, so I can see that majority. So here the majority is going to be hits, so I'm going to color the background red for hot. Okay, so here we're on the verge. Okay, so I'm going to color this yellow just to give me some separation here. So the question is when you're looking at these yellow ones, where do you think that 0 is going to be? Do you think that this is going to be blue, or do you think it's going to be red on the next drawing? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some lines here. Get me all set for the next line, for the next one. Okay. So moving on to the next one here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on where I think the 0 is going to be. At least one of them, one out of the 3. Okay. So I'm going to go with the yellow. Okay. Just for fun, what I'll do is I'm going to change things up a little bit, and I'm going to go with the purple here because I think that this is going to be blue, like right here. Okay, that's what I think is going to happen. So I'm going to go with no purple numbers. So let's go up and take a look at what those purple numbers are. It runs from the 5 down to the 61. And you can see that there's no numbers here. Okay, so just to keep up with things, I am going to go with the yellow, and the yellow's right here, the 24 and 40. If I don't do that, it's kind of going to screw me up here. So going back to the next one for option card number 2, I'm going to go with yellow as well. Okay, so down here, I am going to predict that the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the yellow numbers, and that runs from the 57 to the 64. So I'll get rid of the 62 and 63. Okay, so moving on to the next one here. Okay, so moving on to the next one, the option card number 3. I'm going to go with no brown. Okay, so here's the brown, and as I scroll down here, you see that things got pretty hot, and I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers, and that's the 5 and the 34. So I'll get rid of that 42. Hopefully that number doesn't come up. Okay, so moving on to number 4 here. Oops, kind of got ahead of me there. Okay, so what I'm going to go with is gray. So as I scroll down here, you get see that things have been pretty hot. Okay, so I'm going to go with the 0 right here. And I'm going to get rid of these gray numbers. And that's the 17 and the 69. So I'll get rid of the 20. Hopefully that number doesn't come up. Okay, the option card number 5. So I got 15 of these option cards as well. So I'm almost done here. Okay, so I'm going to go with brown again. And as I scroll down, you can see that things got pretty hot through here. Okay, and I'm going to predict the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers. You can see what those are. So I'll get rid of the 14 and 22 and the 8 over here as well. Okay, so you can see that 8 is gone as well. Okay, so moving on to 6. I'm going to go with blue. So here's the blue, and as I scroll down through here, I'm going to predict that the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these blue numbers. And that's the 4, 11, 20, 27 all the way down. So I'll get rid of the 4, the 36, and the 43. Hopefully those numbers don't come up. Okay, so moving on to 7. I'm going to go with brown again. So here's the brown, and as I scroll down here, again, I think the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers, and that's the 1, 10, 3, 12 all the way across. You can see that there's nothing to get rid of here. Okay, so I want to make a point right here is that as I scroll down here, okay, I picked brown and there was nothing to get rid of. So what I do is, on average for all 15 option cards, uh, I got 8 options and 15 option cards, so that equals 120 options total. Okay, so when I add everything up at the end of the drawing, I do averages. Okay, so the average runs between 3.8 and 4.2. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that on average, 4 of these color groups are going to have a hit to it. 4 of these color groups are going to have a miss to it. Okay, so even though I picked brown here and there's nothing to get rid of, I'm not going to come back to this option card and pick again. Okay, so I designed this to move on to the next option card where I have that 50-50 guess again. Okay, so if I'm correct here with my brown pick, okay, and I come back for another pick on this option card, my odds go way, way up, then I'm going to get it wrong. Okay, so that's why I move on to the next option card where I have that 50-50 guess again. Okay, so with option card number 8, I'm going to go with the 0 right here. Okay, so that's the red area, so I'm going to get rid of the red, 5, 16, 21, 31. And you can see that there's nothing to get rid of here. Okay, so moving on to the next one, option card number 9, I'm going to go with yellow. So here's the yellow, and as I scroll down, you can see things got pretty hot right down through here, so I think the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these yellow numbers, the 1217 pattern on the left side, 6629 on the right side. So there's nothing to get rid of, so I'm going to go back. Option card number 10, I couldn't make a decision, okay? So I'm going to scroll down anyways. Now certainly this brown was attractive to me, but I just didn't have that gut feeling. So again, if you don't feel it, you don't feel it. So I'm going to move on to the next option card, okay? And option card 11, I am going to go with yellow. Okay, so I think the 0 is going to be right here. So it's going to be the 4, 12, 21, 29, 39, 47, 50, 68. Okay, so you can see that there's nothing to get rid of here as well. Or I'm sorry, the 3947. So I'll get rid of these 2. Okay, so I got 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got to get rid of 1 more. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to move to option card 13. I couldn't make a decision here on 12. So I'm going to leave that one alone. And 13, I am going to go with blue. So I think the 0 is going to be right here in the blue area. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of the blue, so we'll see what it is. And that's the 49 to the 52, 21 to the 24. So I'll get rid of the 30. And hopefully that number doesn't come up. Okay. So the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 2, 26, 38, 41, 46. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight this. Okay, so the numbers I'm going to go with are the 2, 26, 38, 41, and 46. Okay, so again, I thought there was going to be more even numbers than odd, so the 2, 26, and 38, 46 will make that happen. More to the high side, so you can see that these 3 numbers will make that happen. More to the left, right? Correct? Okay. And more to that red area, which is right here. Okay. So we'll see what happens. All right. So, I think Sherlock Holmes said it best when he said it's a matter of deduction. Okay. So if these blocked out numbers don't come up, then these highlighted numbers have to come up. Okay. Now the question is, what are the odds that I made all the correct picks? Okay, so let's go over the official odds. To get the grand prize, it's all 5 white numbers and a red ball number. Okay, the odds of doing that are 1 in 292 million in change. Okay, my goal is to get all 5 white balls correct, and what I mean by that is that the game is geared up for the white balls. Okay, so the odds of that are 1 in 11,688. Okay, so in other words, you can make nearly 12 million 5-number combinations out of 69 numbers. Okay, so I don't want to give any kind of illusions that this is going to be easy to win. Okay, so another really nice prize is to get 4 white balls and a red ball that pays 50,000 plus the power play if you play it. The odds of that are just about 1 in a million. Okay, and then the smaller prizes is 4 white balls pays you $100, which is nice if you play the power play as well. Okay, could be a good win. All right, and 3 white balls pays $7 plus the power play, and if you just get the red ball, the power ball, that pays $4 plus the power play. Okay, so you can see that the higher prizes, or even the lower prizes, they're all pretty astronomical here. Okay, so I just want to let you know that if you spend $3 per drawing, there's 2 drawings per week, you would spend $312 per year on the lottery. Okay, so moving on, I do have something for the Powerball number itself. Okay, so in this column here, okay, if you see a blue number, that means it's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, that's high, 14 to 26. Okay, so what I should say is that there's 26 red numbers here in the Powerball. So all I did is divide these in 2. Okay. Now over here in this column, if you see a red number, that's odds. If you see a blue number, that's evens. Okay. So why I do this is because if I see a streak like this of blue, if I know it's going to turn red eventually, I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay. So for me, I think that this is going to be red right here. Okay. So I'm thinking it's going to be a high number, 14 to 26. And over here, I think that this is going to be red as well. So now I'm just going to look at the high odd numbers, okay? The 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, and 25, okay? That's what those 5, 6, 7 numbers I think are going to come up. So I'm just going to concentrate on those, okay? So in closing, I want to thank you for watching. If you would like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.